Russ is a pastor, a Christian, child of God, who actually goes into the world of Satanism, demons, the occult. Correct?
Right.
But I want to talk to you about Program Multiple. Okay? Now, you had mentioned to me that these shootings that occur, that
Absolutely.
that they're connected with. First of all, what is a Program Multiple?
Sure. We've all heard now on television multiple personality disorder. They now call it dissociative identity disorder, DID. So that's well known among psychologists, the DSM-3, the diagnostic manuals. That's really well known. People hear more about multiple personalities. So if you think in terms of your personality, like you and I being one person, I think in terms of, well, I eat chicken or well, I eat hamburger. That's but it's all just me.
Okay.
When you have a multiple through trauma, it's trauma-based, they split human personality into sub-personalities, and they create them.
Who is they?
Well, I would say, again, deeper than the deep state, what I would call the real Luciferian.
Okay.
People that are really, they know what they're doing. They're in league with the dark side, Satan.
Okay.
They know what they're doing. They know what the agenda is. So this is they don't do it just for, fun and have an orgy and do blood, though some of them do.
Right.
This is all by design to create, and they're fostering. They're the reason for the end of the age.
Okay.
They're the reasons behind all of this.
Okay. Again, I go back to they, and you mentioned Luciferians.
Sure.
Can you take me deeper into that?
They would be individuals that knowingly are engaged with. When I say Satan, they also believe that Satan is the light bearer, the good guy. He's Lucifer, kind of like the Albert Pike and the Masons. Lucifer is the good guy. He's a light bearer. He's going to come to bring enlightenment. But they're actually engaged with him.
Okay, this is Satan's soldiers, right?
Absolutely,
directly connected with Satan.
We're eyes wide shut style.
Eyes wide shut. Okay, so now you have the Program Multiple. You explained how they divide them, right? Okay, now let's take it a step further. You mentioned the shooters and all these different shootings. How does that tie?
Sure. When all this begins in childhood, it's a whole issue of breeding them. So when they're creating sub-personalities through that trauma, then the people that are doing this begin to program. They instill, you're going to be a shooter, or you're going to be a priestess, or you're going to be a runner.
These are the Satanists.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
So they're the ones that are going to do this, and they're going to be handling them as handlers.
Okay.
It's all coven-based, Luciferian. But so say in a person they create a programmed, trained shooter, assassin.
All right.
They can put them down and keep them hidden, a sleeper.
Okay.
For years. It just whatever code they gave this part of that personality, you go down and through such and such code, that's the only way you'll ever come up.
And the code means they're going to say some line, some group of numbers.
It could be numbers, things, a phrase. It could be a number. Whatever that Luciferian type programmer gave to this original. If you think in terms of hypnosis and you see people do this on the stage, it's similar, only this is more powerful and permanent.
Okay, so somehow the Program Multiple hears this, and then they go directly to what they're supposed to do.
Sure. And we've seen it happen. We've watched it. We've observed this for years. So if a phone call comes in or if someone repeats the phrase, all of a sudden the main person goes down and that one programmed personality comes up.
Okay.
And if it's a shooter, all they know is their task.
Okay.
The only thing we learned, the only way to bring them down, we have to tackle them. We have to bring them because they're just, the mind is so much control, and along with that programming on the Luciferian side, they're going to add demonic presence to make it even stronger.
Okay, which means they have a superhuman physical...
they're faster, they're stronger.
Right.
And they're just fixed in that. They're like tranced out into doing what they're supposed to do.
Okay. So who are some of the shooters you believe that were Program Multiples that we've heard about in the news?
Sure. I do believe that Holmes from Colorado was a program shooter.
He walked into the movie theater. And why do you believe he was a programmer?
Well, when you observe, and again, for me, normally I would want to meet a person and engage them.
Yeah,
but from a distance, in observation from knowing this for years and years, I see the patterns of, for example, when they finally did, everything he did was done by sophistication. He knew even the bombs in his own apartment.
Okay.
He did it all by design.
Right.
A crazy person doesn't do things by design.
That would have to be supernatural.
Right.
Right.
So all of what he did was by plot, by design, by premeditated.
Right.
But after he does all this random shooting and slaughter and killing, when they finally get a hold of him, take him to jail, he's asleep, he wakes up. This is the case with a couple others too. He wakes up and doesn't know where he's at or why he's there.
Because he doesn't remember.
Because the personality that is shooting is now down,
okay,
and he's back up.
Okay.
The main person is back up,
okay,
and the program shooter is now down.
Okay, but then they kill themselves. Which segment of that is the killer?
Sure. Sure. Like in a program multiple, say this is the main person.
Okay.
And they have a shooter here.
Okay.
Somewhere down in that system of creating this personality, when they're triggered up or the reasons for it, all they're to do is kill the body.
They kill the body.
Suicide program.
Okay, so how did these Satanists, they get to the person in jail who's a program multiple who killed all these people in the movie theater to program them to say kill yourself?
It could be preset to where if once this personality does all the shooting and they're all done and they go down, that is the trigger for the program shooter to come out. Or the programming can be, if you're going to be caught, if you think you're going to be stopped, this personality is to come up and take care of shutting this down.
Okay.
It could be a phrase. It could be also just a phrase.
Could it be someone that's a plant? In other words, he goes to prison, and one of the prison guards is actually a Satan's warrior?
Sure.
Plants?
Or like a lawyer, visitor, someone coming in. Anybody, whatever the phrase, the trigger code to cause that part to come up. So I believe Holmes would have killed himself, but they stopped him. His gun jam, they stopped him.
Okay. You mentioned the shooter in Vegas.
Sure.
Why would you think he's a program multiple?
Well, and again, like Holmes or like Jared in Arizona, same things we see the patterns. We see major sophistication, but also like there's no conscience in slaughtering. They didn't just, it wasn't a man that was jealous because his wife is,
right.
It wasn't domestic.
Right.
It wasn't just some guy stealing for drug money.
Right.
This is massacre.
Right.
So in program shooters, the way they're trained, they're meant to massacre and slaughter in a big way.
With no feelings.
And there's nothing.
There's nothing.
There's no remorse. There's no conscience there. So when that personality, and because we've dealt with, face-to-face, we've dealt with program shooters. There is no conscience. Because they've only been trained and conditioned by the programmer, handler, Luciferian type people to do that. That's all they know.
Wow.
That's all they know to do, so that when they come up...
Okay. So, Russ, just talking to you, what comes to mind is most of these shooters, these kids that walk in school and kill all these children, they end up killing themselves, most of them. Mm-hmm. What you're saying is more than likely these are program multiples.
And we've looked at, we constantly look at all of them. We look at all of them. Right. And when I look at the Vegas case, that is the most glaring picture of a programmed shooter who then has programming to take himself out if he's going to get caught. Right. Look at the slaughter, look at the development. And here's the sad thing is that maybe the feds or someone will come out with a profiler to say, you hear this always, they snapped, they went crazy. Okay. And so as soon as the society hears, well, they're mental, they're emotional, or they're insane, right, we kind of write them off then. That's where they haven't dealt with the real cause behind. Now, it's true that people can kill people.
Right.
It's true that people can kill people for drugs or for jealousy out of a boyfriend-girlfriend situation. But when you deal with like the Vegas shooter, the categories are random and massive slaughter that seem to be very designed. Mm-hmm. Secondly, program shooting, or if they do get caught and taken away, like Holmes or Jared, when they wake up, the shooter personality is now down inside. They don't know what happened. They have missing time.
Right,
They don't know what occurred
right.
for the last few hours.
Right.
They have, and because memory is encoded, so when the personality shooter is up doing everything, all the memory is encoded here. If they go down and the main person comes back up, the main person has no memory of what this part of him did.
Wow. If Jesus, as a man, were walking the face of the earth, he'd be doing, I believe, what you're doing. Because what did he do? He went and he cast out demons.
Yeah.
And he identified demons, too.
Yeah.
He did. He identified demons.
Absolutely.
Jesus was basically an investigative demon caster-outer.
Well, and he came targeting that. I mean, he came...
That's right.
The reason he came was to destroy the devil's works.
Right.
So demon possession with the mind control. I believe mind control the idea of mind control technology comes straight from Satan anyway.
Yeah. Yes.
God doesn't control minds like that.
No.
He doesn't turn people into tranced out robots.
No, we have free will.
Yeah.
He's given us that.
Yeah.
Russ, when we come back, I want to talk about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, sure.
Okay, and how all this ties together. Before we go, would you give everybody your contact information if they want to know more about what you do?
Sure. The main website is shatterthedarkness.net. If you go to shatterthedarkness.net, you just go there. All the information, contact information, everything about us is on that page. Big page, a lot of stuff, messy. So just go there, take a look, but you can contact us or see more through that page.
Yeah. Folks, before I wrote Last Evangelist, I met Russ after I wrote Last Evangelist, but I'm just telling you, what he does is very close to what God's given me, the message in Last Evangelist. In these last days, we're going to see supernatural events. You go, well, David, read the Bible. The Bible is full of it. Yep. Jesus talked about that.
Right.
Russ, thank you so much.
Thank you. Absolutely.